Digimon TCG is saved. That's right, it is saved. And it wasn't saved by me. It wasn't even saved by Bandai. It was saved by the DCGO simulator. So this DCGO simulator, it's been around for a little while now, but I want to say it's only been a few months. But it's an automated Digimon sim where you can load cards. You can load cards into the sim, you know, whatever deck you want to play, and then, well, you can play it as simple as that. We live in a world now where so many card games have digital versions. Nowadays, a lot of them are first party and official. You know, think Master Duel, Magic the Gathering Arena, the Pokemon Online thing whose name I always forget. Before we got to this point, you know, all the simulators, they had to be, you know, made by, well, just random fans, people who wanted more out of their card games. And for a long time, these companies weren't listening to us. We've all been yelling at Bandai for the longest to give us a Digimon sim, and some people finally decided, you know what, we're gonna take it into our own hands. So that's where DCGO comes in. Now, I found out about DCGO because of Hong Zero, the YouTube channel. He's kind of the face of DCGO, and at least that's how I became familiar with it. I know it's not a huge team, but they have put some real heart and soul into this program, and I really think this assures the Digimon TCG will continue to grow and flourish despite whatever Bandai does. Now, that's not to say this is, you know, Bandai's hurting Digimon. I mean, we're syncing up releases with Japan come 2025, and that can only be a good thing, I hope. But yeah, let me just get into the simulator, how it works, and what I like about it. So the DCGO interface is very simple and very efficient. You load this bad boy up and you already know what to do. Deck building is a breeze. It has simple search functions for any card you might want, but also it has enough filters and sorting features where you can find cards that you don't know that you need. I slapped together my Mastermon deck and my Lugamon deck in less than like a minute each. All my cards were in it. Even more impressively was it had the alternate arts too. Now, you can toggle the alternate arts off or on if you don't care about that sort of thing, but you guys have seen my Mastermind deck. I certainly care about that kind of thing. Once you have your decks built, you can go to battle. You can battle, you know, people in random mode. You can make rooms and play against your friends, or you can even battle against bots. Let's say you just slap the deck together and, you know, you're not really sure about your ratios, about anything, so you really don't want to bring it against a person. Well, one, there's the test hand feature where you can just draw 5 cards. You can even simulate your own mulligan, you know, just to see if you're getting your level 3s, you know, making sure you're on curve. But also there's the bot feature. Now, I'll tell you right now, this bot is not that smart, but it does play the game properly. So if you just want to see how your cards interact in an actual game setting, the bot is more than good enough for that. But the random matches, there's plenty of people on. Every time I queue for a random match, I get into that match within 30 seconds. It takes no time at all. And there's really no telling what you might be matched up against. Now, I will say right now, I think the most popular Digimon in the universe of Digimon is Wargreymon. Why? Because it feels like out of the 20 games I've played, 13 of them have been Wargreymon decks. And sometimes they're more on the red focus Wargreymon, sometimes they're black and red, black Wargreymon focus, but that bad boy is everywhere. But that's not to say that's all you're gonna deal with, because I played against Mirage Galgamon, D-Police, I played against the Hunters deck. That was very annoying, but that's actually one of the greatest benefits to this platform. For the first time ever, we don't have to worry about how these cards resolve. I think we've all been there where we're mid-game, you're in a complicated board state. Each player has like one or two big Digimon with lots of sources, multiple tamers, lots of effects are going off, and you know, you're just trying to figure out when I attack and these effects go off, like how do my effects interact with my opponent's effects? And if there's a ruling snafu, will we rule this correctly? You know, depending on if you even have a judge. Well, you don't have to worry about that at all with the DCGO simulator. It handles all of that for you. The program has actual judges that have looked at the rulings. They've made adjustments to how cards interact to make sure they're in line with how real judges will rule those cards. and any cards that don't get identified and changed. You can actually check out the change log to see any known issues with cards. So, you know, cards you might want to avoid because they're not working as they would work in real life. But I can't stress enough how much I love the in-game battle screen. Just all the relevant information that you could want while you're playing a game is just there at your fingertips. You want to know how many cards are in the trash because maybe you're playing Beelzemon or something similar. There's a graveyard counter. You want to know how many cards in your opponent's hand. Maybe you're playing the Galgamon deck or something. Well, there's a hand counter. Any detail or information you need to make a good decision in this game is always at your fingertips. There's a log, which I will say the log could look a little better. It's really just text telling you what all the cards did. I like it if there were pictures too, but this is the 1.0 version of this platform, so I'm not gonna really stress about that all that much. But I love it when my opponent activates, let's say, a memory boost. It tells me what cards were revealed. It tells me what was added to hand and what was sent back to the deck. And it makes sure that you know what those cards are, so you have no reason to forget other than, well, your own memory being garbage. That's not the simulation's fault. That's on you. That's on me specifically. I'm really, really bad at that. In an unofficial simulator, there's no promises that the card images are going to be very good. I've seen sims where they couldn't get the right sizes of the images, so they're kind of stretched, they look ugly. That's not a problem with this simulator at all. The vast majority of the cards in the game, up to I think BT 15, are in this system and they have pictures. I think right now the only exception are some promos, or at least when I ran the image scraper tool that you can download with this program, I didn't get all the promo arts, but I at least found out that you can actually pull artworks yourself from online, and through a very simple method of just saving them in the right folder with the right name, you can add images to cards that don't have them already. And it works perfectly. You can even do that to change out your sleeves, your Digi-Egg, and your main deck. You get your playmat. There's actually a lot of customization you can do here because it's a very simple to use platform. So I've played 20 some odd games on the sim. Most of my opponents, they surrender. I play a lot of Mastermind. If you've played against Mastermind and lost, you know why people surrender. But I've also played some 20-minute games, 30-minute games. They can really go, and if you played in tournament, you already know that a Digimon game can go well into time. It is what it is. But I like to think that now I have a fairly solid understanding of this platform, and I'll go over some of the things I learned. So I don't personally love playing my card games digitally. I prefer to play them physically, but if I had to play them digitally, this is a really good way to do it. I learned that I didn't really know how all my cards worked. Some certain things are obvious. My on-play effects, my when digivolving effects, I got those. They're good. What gave me issues were my all turns effects, because Mastermind got at least I added 2 new cards to the deck when BT15 came out that have all turns effects. It's the Salamon Inheritable and the Anjumon Ace all turns effect, and I just wasn't using them. It just never really got through my head that, hey, these activate on my turn and my opponent's turn, and they can make a huge difference in a game. I mean, I remember in my deck profile that I put out in my last video, I said I didn't really know how to use the Salamon. Well, I was on the DCGO simulator and I was getting aggressed by I think this was a blue Source Strip deck. And I'm like, man, he's trying to take me out. He's trying to finish me off. Well, he hit my security, and then the Salamon Inheritable kicked in and dropped -2,000 on one of his rookies and saved me from an attack that probably meant the difference between me winning or losing that game. Just to help you out, guys, I did end up winning that game. It was a very long and hard-fought game, but that Salamon Inheritable was instrumental. And I know that in real life, I would have missed that trigger, because I wouldn't have been looking for it. The same thing happened with Anjumon Ace. I think of her effect to recover or at least I thought that her effect to recover security when you lose security was a part of her when digivolving effect. Completely forgot that it's an all turns effect, and when my opponents attack me while I have two of them on the field, both of them can trigger to recover, so me losing one security could actually be me gaining one security, net gain security. And that blew a game, it brought me back in a game where I thought I was going to lose, and I came back and I was like, if this were real life, I would have lost because I would have missed those triggers. I didn't know to look for them. And that's not on Bandai, that's not on Digimon, that's on me, because I mean I only thought I knew how my cards work. But that's one of the benefits of this platform. You never miss a trigger, so in a weird way you get to relearn your cards. You see every chance you have to use an effect, and if an effect is optional, it lets you know the effect is optional. You're never forced into things you don't really want to do. I find the misclick problem that I've dealt with in Master Duel to not be as big of a deal here, but I think that's more so that this Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Are two very different games. And my favorite thing about the simulator is the promise of future updates. Right now we have every card that I want to play with right now, because I stick to the English format game. I don't know if there are updates that I don't have, so we can get future cards in the platform. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with any cards from BT17 or people testing for BT18, whatever. I don't want to deal with people playing in the future. So right now, what I have is perfect for me, but there's promises of new features. I remember, I think in Hong's video, he said they were working on a feature where they'd have a random mode for our format and the Japanese format. Well, I guess come 2025, we won't need that because we'll have synced up product releases, so that's cool. But that also means that Hong and them, they're working on adding, all the future cards and future mechanics into the simulator, and we can rock with this for a long time. I mean, so many Digimon players have issues getting product. They have issues getting a community together. Sometimes they have issues just getting one person to play with, but the simulator wipes all that trouble out the way. Right now, a lot of people are struggling with the prices of Magnamon X and Rapidmon X. These are two very good secret rare cards, and they're expensive. Well, maybe try them out on DCGO first. You can download it for free, you can play them for free, then you can decide if you're willing to pay TCG Player them real bucks. But all in all, DCGO is a great simulator. I personally think this is the savior of the Digimon TCG. If this game goes on to live another 10 years, I think this simulator is instrumental in making that happen. So shout outs to DCGO and their team. And guys, go check it out. I'll put a link in the description. And I'll see you in the next one. Pass turn.